up, guys? Evolutionary.org podcast coming your way. Steve Smi and my co-host Rick. We have another caller calling in. She is a female, and Amanda is on the air. How you doing, Amanda?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, yep, you contacted me on Evo. You're like, man, I want to call in. I want to ask some questions. I want to get my things going. So your story is like so many out there. I'd say most women in the United States have this issue. They grew up active. They were active in high school, played a lot of sports. Then as they became adults, problems started coming up. They kind of fell off the wagon. It seems like you're in that boat. So first, get into a little bit. You emailed Rick and I, and you gave us some information. But tell the listeners about your childhood and how you were active in high school and whatnot.
Okay, so I grew up in dance my entire life, and then in high school, drill team, dance, stayed active. And I never got over 125 pounds probably, even on the worst day. Was always, fit. And then I got into some trouble a few years back and caught up in some drama and ended up going to jail for 2 years. So not only was it like a total culture shock to my mind, but my body. And ended up gaining probably 85 pounds.
Wow, 85 pounds? 85 or 55?
Yeah, 85.
Okay. So how do you gain that much weight in jail?
Yeah, people always think like you don't get enough food over there. How did that go? How did that go down?
Well, luckily I had family that put money in my books like all the time. But all you eat is starch, first of all, and you never get to move around unless you end up with it took me a long time to figure it out, but unless you ended up with a good job, you couldn't move around. You get to walk around in circles and so for the first 6 months, I was so depressed that all I did was eat what I was getting off commissary and whatever starch they decided, or whatever 3 starches they decided to feed us.
Can you be specific?
Not moving.
Can you be specific at what you mean by starches? Are you talking about like a lot of packaged foods, bread, stuff like that?
Everything was packaged, pretty much. Literally everything. And then not to mention like lockdowns is, you get 3 times a day peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and you can't get off your bunk at all, period. No movement.
So you're basically
potatoes, pasta, just that, things that are, pre-made pretty much, I guess.
So you're eating a lot of processed crap and not exercising at all, and you ballooned quite a bit. So, that makes sense. The body reacts when you throw something at your body that's processed. Your body reacts in that way and starts storing. That's a natural way. So what ended up transpiring? So you got out while you're in jail. You were kind of mentally messed up. Did that kind of psychologically stress you out, where you think that contributed also to your weight gain?
Absolutely. Like I said, I actually ended up getting up to right at 200. And then I lucked out and got a trustee job outside the unit, which I was so thankful for, but at the same time not, because I was mowing grass all day, every day. And I've never mowed grass a day in my life. So anyways, but I finally got to walk around and move. So I lost down to like 180 before I came home. And then just from being able to move and I guess maybe at least feel free in my mind during the day,
Okay. So
let me ask you a question. Do you think your eating habits changed a lot from before you went in when you come out?
Absolutely.
Because that's a huge part of it. Because if you'd went back to your eating habits pre going in, you probably would have just gradually dropped back down. So definitely,
right. It's taken me
habits and choices in foods must have changed quite a bit too, I bet.
Right, and it's taken me 3 years to stop, just to break that of the junk quickness of eating and packages and just junk like that you can get out of commissary.
Yeah, right, absolutely. Now, so where you at today? Right now, you're 155 right now, correct? And how long have you been
Yes,
155 for?
a year.
All right,
I mean, I'm just stuck at
all right.
a
So you were about 125 before you went in. You came out 185, and you've been stuck at
right.
about 155 for the last year, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, here's a question for you. What would you call is the main difference with your eating habits that you have now 155 versus when you first came out, or have made any drastic changes? I mean, you could have maybe changed the types of foods you eat, or just continue to eat the same crap, just eat less of it. How did you lose the weight and kept it off?
Well, up until probably 2 months ago or so, when I went and saw a nutritionist, that's whenever the actual types of food completely changed. But before, I guess maybe I was still in that mental state of eating my feelings. I guess you could say maybe I don't know, and overeating. Like I said, I cut back on it, but I was still eating the same junk up until 2.5 months ago. Um, so uh, maybe that'll change since I've stopped with all the junk and actually trying to stick to meal plan.
What's a typical day of meals look like for you? Like today, like yesterday. What do your meals look like yesterday?
Um, let's see. For breakfast, a fruit, and oatmeal, then a snack, a snack, a trail mix or something. Nuts and some sort of protein, but small. And then lunch um, was baked chicken, and let's see. And then I had another snack. I had yogurt like later on, and honestly, it's too much food to eat throughout the day. The meal plan that I'm on, like I have a hard time um, even getting through half of it. By the time I started actually following the meal plan and trying to stick with it, like I was never hungry. You know what I'm saying? Like
So
going from eating how I was.
so this nutritionist puts you on this diet, and you feel like you're forcing yourself to eat.
Um, I mean, really, some not forcing myself, but I'm just not hungry.
Okay.
Um,
So
that
when you
makes
That's
wake up,
that's a really good start, by the way. How long have you felt not hungry for?
uh, probably about right under a month. I mean, it took me a little while to actually follow the plan instead of cheating all the time.
so
Okay.
let me just say this, like the nutritionist puts you on a kind of a whole food diet. It's not bad, the kind of foods that you're throwing at yourself. It just depends. Like you're saying trail mix. Is a trail mix contain hydrogenated oils? Does a trail mix contain sugars, added sugars, or is it raw nuts? That makes a difference. Yogurt, same
It's
thing.
just
Does it have added
like,
sugars? Because most yogurt you buy from the store, they add sugar because no one's gonna buy it if it's just plain and it's
right.
unpasteurized. It's hard to find. So again, with women, a lot of yogurt eating among women, you look at the ingredients. One of the first ingredients is sugar, even if it's a healthy type of sugar. Another thing too, you wake up in the morning. Are you hungry in the morning, or are you just stuffing yourself because your nutritionist told you to eat in the morning?
Right. I'm just eating because I was told to, really, because I'm
Right.
not really hungry when I first wake up. I've never been a breakfast eater, really.
Okay, so that's a beautiful thing that you said that. So a lot of things, a lot of nutritionists feel like, hey, I gotta, my clients have to eat breakfast because we've been told for the past 30 years, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It's gonna speed up your metabolism and all that bullshit. But we actually know that's not true. So the most beautiful thing about what you're saying is right off the bat, you can just cut out your breakfast and not even eat a breakfast. You're not hungry when you wake up. There's no need to eat a breakfast. So basically you're going to kind of push that forward and focus on eating later in the day. Rick, you want to jump in and kind of get in the meal timing thing?
Well, this is what I would say. You need about 36 ounces of water in the morning, just to
Hmm.
get your system going. And yeah, no breakfast. Now, usually before you were given this meal plan, when did you usually get hungry around? Around what time?
Probably 9:30, 10ish, around or so, 10:30ish. You know. not hungry. That's just kind of like honestly, I think it's like a board snack time or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, so,
Yeah, we know
like
what you're saying.
Hungry.
So,
You think you can go as long as let's say noon, 1 p.m. without food? Do you think you'd maybe try that tomorrow?
Yeah.
So what happens is, though, when you wake up in the morning, you eat right off the bat. It's normal for you, like you said, out of boredom or out of just habit, 2 hours later to eat again, then 2 hours later to eat again. It has to be the same way. So if you're just skipping your breakfast, you won't even get hungry until midday, because you're not kind of getting into that habit of eating every 2 hours, you see? So again, the nutritionist thinks that if you eat a breakfast, that's going to boost your weight loss. And obviously it's not working, so your nutritionist got you to a point where you're at now where you can no longer lose weight. So now you have to kind of, change stuff up and kind of do something a little unconventional. And, we're moving you toward like an intermittent fasting type of program where you're not eating till 12, 1, even 2 o'clock, and you're just going to eat in that window of time because you won't be hungry as long as you're hydrating in the morning. Do you live in a hot climate?
Very.
Okay, so I have the same problem. Rick has the same problem. I have the same problem.
Hydrate.
When you live in a hot climate and you don't hydrate as soon as you wake up, you're going to feel more hungry, but it's really your body begging for electrolytes. So good quality water, add electrolytes to your water if necessary, plain electrolytes, no sugar, no nothing added, just plain electrolytes. That will help you. If you're drinking filtered water, the filter is actually filtering out the electrolytes because I have a filter and that's what it does. So I'll add my own electrolytes. I'll add a little salt to my water. I'll add a little potassium cream of tartar to my water and maybe take a magnesium pill to get my electrolytes in because I live in a hot climate. I'm sweating all the time. It's like 100 degrees every day, just like you in Texas. So that's an option. And we crave, the electrolytes, and that kind of makes us think, hey, we need to eat when we don't. So try that. Try hydrating, like Rick was saying, right off the bat in the morning, a lot of water, a lot of electrolytes, and you should be able to go till about 12, 1, 2 o'clock without any food and give it a little space. Give your insulin levels a chance to come down to earth. If you're not spiking your insulin right off the bat, your insulin levels come down, your body will go into a more fat burning stage instead of fat storage phase.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, actually it does.
Yeah.
The core of what, and Steve and I both adopted this lifestyle and we like it. We didn't invent it. It's been around forever, but basically you restrict your feeding to a small windows you can, if you can do 4 or 6 hours throughout the day, which is the only time you allow yourself to eat. And then you're not hungry the rest of the time. And the point of that is you want to not bombard your body with insulin all day long. So you restrict your feeding to about 4 to 6 hours a day. And during that time you eat good stuff. You don't bask on sugars. You don't, go crazy with bread and things like that. You want to eat good things then. And as you got, good foods and good things going on, you won't be hungry throughout the day. You won't be hungry the time that you're not eating. And then what you want to do to add on to that is you want to start doing maybe 1 day or 2 days a week where you can actually just drink just water and not have any calories, anything coming into your system. And that's the only diet plan, which is fasting and time restricted feeding is the only plan that I found that actually helps people have their skin sucked back in. The body, you won't have all this loose skin to deal with. The body will suck it all back in. And it's the only plan that does that. If you do the small chicken and vegetables, 6 meals a day plan, you can lose some serious body fat, but the skin will hang. There is a process that the body goes through to actually suck the skin back in when you're just fully fasting and you're getting absolutely no proteins in your system. There's an example I read the other day in an article, and I'm going to bring it up here. Hopefully nobody gets offended, but there's a reason why when you look at old films from the Holocaust, none of those folks had any skin hanging, although I'm sure a ton of them went in there, a little bit overweight, because all the skin gets sucked back in because these folks were actually not eating anything at all. Some of them were dry fasting, no water even. And when you actually don't put anything in, your body will suck that skin back in to break down those proteins to fix other more vital organs. It can tuck a little bit of skin in without endangering your health, and take that protein and put it somewhere else, because you're not even taking that. So it's really just been a good plan, and it's worked for everybody. And it's real simple. There isn't a ton of things that you need to buy or do. You don't have to bring your meals, with you to work and all this crazy stuff.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it just frees up your life if you're not worried about eating food or preparing meals or carrying meals around all day. And then around 4 or 5, ideally you'd want to have your first meal around 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and your last one around 9 or 10 or 8. You really want to just close that window. And you feed what you need during that time, good foods, good whole foods. And then the rest of the time, you're not hungry, and you'll be making a lot of progress towards losing weight and losing more body fat.
That's interesting, and I think I would be way more comfortable, anyways, with this plan versus trying to make myself eat, and trying to keep track of time. And at work it's kind of hard to, and with the kids, you're looking at the time to see what time it is to eat the snacker. That's crazy.
Yeah, the snacking is the killer in America, because
Right.
especially with women, because what do women do every evening? They sit in front of the TV, they watch Law and Order or CSI or the sitcoms or whatever, and they stuff their faces with food because you're watching the TV and you're hungry. You want to throw stuff at your stomach. It's just a habit. So that's the killer.
Right.
So if you can get away from, if you can just eat in that window, 2 to 8 or 4 to 8, that 4 or 6 hour window, and then just not snack in the evening when you're watching your shows and stuff, that can really help you make tremendous progress right there. And then what Rick was saying about the all day water, just water, in that situation, what you can try once a week or once every other week initially is you eat dinner, and then you don't eat again for another 24 hours. So eat dinner, then you won't eat again till dinner again, one meal. And so you'll eat normal in that window, and then you'll have your dinner at 8, and then the next day you won't eat anything till 8. Just eat your dinner, and then the next day go back to your normal 4 to 6 hour window. And that would be something that would kind of reinforce what we're trying to do here, and really kind of switch you off from that insulin pop every 2 hours that your nutritionist has put you on. Because all the nutritionist is doing here is they're just having you eat clean whole foods probably in a calorie deficit, right? So it got you down to where you're at right now. But if you stay in a calorie deficit going forward, you're not going to just keep losing weight like magic all the way down to weighing 0. That's the
Right.
Weight Watchers plan. And Weight Watchers even admits, hey, 95% of people do not succeed at this long term. This is a short-term fix that your nutritionist is doing for you. It's not a long-term solution to your issue. You're not going to get the type of results you want. So really, a lot of women should be adopting this type of lifestyle when it comes to their diet. It would really benefit.
One thing that I think I might have picked up on, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you felt a lot hungrier before the nutritionist, because you were eating foods that just were no good. I'm sure a lot of starches, a lot of sweet. And then as soon as the nutritionist switched you to better foods that weren't spiking your insulin as much, your hunger just started to go away just by switching the types of foods you were eating, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean it's
Pretty
common.
much.
It's common. Eating junk makes you hungrier later down the line. This is what I'm talking about with the insulin release. You eat that junk, you just get hungrier, and all you did was just basically change the types of foods you ate, and now you're not even hungry in the morning. So that that goes to show you just how eating bad things continues to make you hungry to eat bad things. And so what you want to do is really cut down on the starches as much as you can during that small feeding window, to make sure that you're not spiking insulin. That'll help you keep the hunger away, because that's the number one barrier most people have towards losing weight. It's just hunger. They want to eat food, bad foods. So you're already on a good road there. If you can start applying what we're suggesting, I think you'll be real happy with the results.
All right. I will definitely give it a try. So like I said, it sounds way more easily efficient for me to accomplish and
You'll
be
say
comfortable.
It's going to save you money too. Really, it will. Because if you're only eating 2 or 3 good, wholesome meals a day in that window, you're not eating every 2 hours. You're going to save a lot of money. You will save a lot of money just eliminating that breakfast out. So let's get into a little bit about, any other questions you had.
Compounds. She had some chemical compounds questions, right? Steroids. What do you want to know?
Yes. Well, what else would help what I'm trying to do? Like I said, last summer, I did a small short cycle of Winstraw and loved the results, but I didn't. The sides were horrible. So I've read a lot about farms, but I don't know. I was kind of looking for some advice there. Any advice?
I'll give you something off the bat. I think your body fat's a little high to go with steroids. It's something right. I tell people every once in a while. I might make an exception and say, okay, in your case, you could make an exception. In yours, I don't think you should. If you get back down to about 125, 130, then maybe you could use some sauce to tone up, to muscle up. But right now, I think just getting your weight down should be the main concern.
Right.
In your case, I'm going to hook you up with some free supplements, over-the-counter supplements. I'm going to hook you up with 3 of them, and you're going to have something for your insulin. It's a nutrient partitioner. It's called Entoslin. I'm going to send you one of those. I'm going to send you your hand flame that you can apply topically to your trouble areas, and I'm going to send you also a bottle of T3 PCT, which is going to help your thyroid along. I'm going to send you these 3, and you just give that a shot. No steroids, no stimulants, no anything. If you want a little bit of more energy during the hours that you're not feeding in the morning, black coffee, no sugar, no cream. That's a good way to go. No calories in there, and you're getting some caffeine. You're getting a pick-me-up. But in your case, I'd like for you to get down to at least 130 with these over-the-counter supplements that are not stimulants. Right. And then once you get down to 130, we'll see what your skin situation is like, see how you feel. Then you could think about jumping on the sauce again. But in your case, I'm going to suggest you drop down to much lower body fat before you think about using. Anabar will mess with your cholesterol levels. I mean, there's just, when you are overweight and you add androgens, you make some of the side effects worse. So you'd want to be at a really good weight, not be too much overweight before you jump on the sauce. That's just my opinion. What do you think, Steve?
Well, you mentioned you ran Winstraw, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't recommend my female clients run Winstraw. The reason is Winstraw is extremely harsh. And the reputation of Winstraw throughout the 80s and 90s was that it had low side effects. But that's only because it doesn't aromatize into estrogen. So that it got that incorrect. People made that incorrect assumption that it didn't come with side effects. It's actually extremely harsh on our system. For men, it comes with tremendous side effects because it's such a potent DHT derivative. But on women, because it is a DHT derivative, you're also going to get these masculine type of side effects, enlarged clitoris, facial body hair, even loss of head hair, deepening voice, stuff like that. And those are things you don't want to mess with. So down the line, if you do choose to go down the sauce route, you want to get legitimate Anavar and run it at a very low dosage, no more than 10 milligrams a day at the most. But I would not mess with Winstraw ever again. Whoever told you to take Winstraw gave you some really, really bad advice, because that's a very,
that's not that out the hard way.
Yeah, and hopefully your side effects that you got from it are not permanent, because in some women they can be permanent, but hopefully they're not. Hopefully,
nah, everything's pretty much normal now. But
good.
Was at the time I didn't realize that that's what was going on. But yeah, it was an ex of mine. He used Winstraw and some other things, and anyways, I didn't know anything about it at that time.
Yeah,
but I've done a lot of research since.
Yeah, we get that a lot. Like, people listen to their friends and stuff. And at the end of the day, what you put in your body should be your responsibility. So, you got to always trust your own self and trust your own instincts. And another thing with Winstrol, any results you're going to get, it's just drying you out. It's not actually burning fat directly. So a lot of people get a misconception when they use Winstrol. They're like, oh, it's helping me burn fat. It's just drying you out. And that's actually not a good thing either, because it can lead to problems, joint problems. Is very common on Winstrol as well. So yeah, definitely the best thing you did was stop using it. And best thing you could do is switch around your diet, get through that homeostasis that you're stuck in the past year, and getting. And this will definitely work for you. Your body remembers that you are 120 for many, many years. So you can tap into that body memory and get back to that much easier than someone who's been overweight their whole life. So that is something for you to strive for. Any Rick, jump in there?
Yeah. When it comes to girls using steroids, unless a girl is going on stage and competing against other women at top level, really most women, to just look nice in a bathing suit, all you need is Anavar, a little bit of Anavar, like Steve said, about 10 mgs a day, no more. And if you could get legitimate GW, again, we don't know the real side effects of GW until the years pass because it's so new. But if we're talking about, today, what's out there today, GW and Anavar, it's enough for any lady, any age, to build a great body like one of those girls on Instagram with 250,000 followers. Really, it is. If your diet is on point, if you're training hard, taking every set to failure and pushing, and you're doing the right things, it will. It's enough. That's all you really need. And adding anything more than that, or trying to add anything additional, it's unnecessary, completely unnecessary. I think in your case, even until you get down to a lower body fat percentage, it's not even. I think it'd be counterproductive to your health to do any kind of androgens or anything. So lifestyle changes, some natural supplements that are actually going to help get down to your body weight. And then I would say Anavar, a little bit of GW. That's about all any lady out there needs, my opinion.
Right. Okay. Well, thank y'all so much for the advice. That's what I've been looking for.
Great. And then I'll be in touch with you to get you those supplements shipped out to you as well. So those supplements will really help. And I'll give you a little write-up on how best to use them. All right?
Okay. Thank y'all so much. Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on. Yep.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You too.
All right, guys. Yeah, really appreciate her coming on. That was another episode of Evolutionary Podcast. We will talk to you guys next time. Thanks for listening.
Hey, have a good one, guys.